Texas A&M. And they barely lost. They probably got cheated against Clemson, but hey, whatever. But speaking of Pac-12 schools, shout out to Herm Edwards. I gotta eat crow. Just gonna boo myself. Yeah, I was wrong. Herm Edwards upset Michigan State. And yeah, they beat them. They beat Michigan State in the last second field goal. They look like the better team the whole game. Khalil Harry, the receiver for Arizona State, just mark it down. He's probably going to be the best receiver in this draft. When he comes out, that dude moves like a running back at 6'4", a scat back. It's crazy. But on to, and we're going to wrap this up pretty soon, but on to a segment I like to call, I don't know if I want to just call it Let's Talk About It, but for this particular segment, I'm just going to say smart people saying stupid shit for 1,000. School's in everybody. School's in. The first so-called smart person saying some really stupid shit is Hugh Freeze. He said at a press conference, "The climate in America is keeping me out of college football." Essentially, his undertones were blaming the Me Too movement. He did a lot of nasty shit when he was the head coach at Ole Miss, involving like strippers and women, and did his wife dirty, and there was a lot of recruiting violation. He lied to recruits and players about, oh, there's not going to be any more sanctions, and then they got popped with more sanctions, and a lot of guys were like, well, dog, I don't want to spend 2 years here with no bowl game, and I can't get to the NFL. That's why Shea Patterson left and got his year eligibility back. That's why another receiver Ole Miss had left, and I think went to Florida or something. He went somewhere in the SEC. But yeah, Hugh Freeze, you're nasty. Just gonna boo that man. And your comments, just you didn't. The climate in America, that's what kills me about white men. Like, you can never accept the fact that y'all out here doing nasty, wrong, evil shit. And if anybody tries to make you accountable for it, you play victim. I don't like that. It's gross. And I guess, you got to be a smart, you seem like a smart coach, but did some dumb shit. I guess we don't have Laquan Treadwell and Laramie Tunsil on your team with a bunch of 5-star recruits and making you look like a better coach than you are. Then, hey, shit happens and you get exposed. But he's still nasty. Now, the second thing, this is really shocking, coming from a really smart guy who coaches at a really smart university, Northwestern University in Illinois. Pat Fitzgerald, the head coach, said he called RPOs, which are run-pass options. That's pretty much what the Eagles use to win the Super Bowl. Concepts, run-pass options, pretty much a play where it could be a run, it could be a pass, or some type of an option. So let's say I hike the ball, it could be a handoff to a running back. I fake the handoff, play action pass. Or, you have the option of doing that. Or you hand it off to the running back, and he can run it. Or shit, he does some crazy thing that Trey Burton did, and they throw a reverse to Nick Foles. Run-pass options are great for teams that have mobile quarterbacks, really athletic guys. It's hard to be a slow-ass dude running RPOs. But because Nick Foles went from Michigan State in college to Arizona, where they had Rich Rodriguez, and he ran an up-tempo spread, he can kind of get down with the cadence of the RPO and the fact that it's essentially a fast break offense. Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern, they do not run that run-pass option shit, but they kind of did a couple times. He said the run-pass option is the purest form of communism.
Bruh.
I know what some of y'all are thinking. What the fuck does that even mean?
Bruh.
Well, I'll tell you. It's a smart person saying some really stupid shit. First off, communism and a schematic system to put points on the board is not communism. Because communism would mean everybody gets the same shit, essentially. There's answer to one person, whatever. I think he's just mad, and a lot of other teams that are mad because the Big Ten is a notoriously slow conference. Let's just be honest. We had Pete's former teammate. He even said it. Yeah, the Big Ten's slow. Not the fastest corners or linebackers or D linemen, but they're big and they're trees and they're huge people. But yeah, that was really stupid, Pat Fitzgerald. But I guess that's a built-in excuse because you say something so crazy and radical that if you get your doors blown off by a team that runs the RPO, then you just have that built-in excuse where I didn't really like it anyway. It's like, no, your defense isn't athletic enough or smart enough to handle that. That's why Michigan State, when Arizona State was running up tempo, some people say they were faking injuries. Florida State, they were saying that Virginia Tech was faking injuries. So, hey, the next time somebody compares offensive concept to, I don't know, communism, just do this. Because I was a smart person saying some really stupid shit.
Bruh.
And last but not least, now this personal piece of shit, I gotta stop blowing into the mic, but man, this dude pissed me off. His name's Gerard Martinez, works for USC.com, under All-American Scout. And he said something that was quite racist and very disrespectful. Let me find this damn tweet. Okay. He pretty much said, and I'll quote from a tweet that he said about 4 days ago. Now this dude, he's a scout for for the Under Armour games and all that good stuff. This dude was in Moore Park. He was like, what's with all the flies in Moore Park? Feels like it's Africa out here. Now, anyone who understands racist undertones knows that, that's some bullshit. You really just compared Moore Park, some rich-ass place, because there's flies there, to the entire continent of Africa. And you aimed that at black people, because who else are you talking about? It's, I'm still pissed about the whole situation. He said, his exact quote was, and this was 5 days ago, my bad, Gerard Martinez, his Twitter handle is GMartLive, GMART Live, if you want to actually get him on Twitter. He's too much of a coward to answer. It says he has 10,000 followers, but honestly, people pay for followers all the time. You never know. He's a senior analyst at USCFootball.com. He said, man, what's with these flies at Moore Park? It's like I'm in Africa or something.
Bruh.
Now, shit like this, I'm not even going to say the dude's smart, but I mean, he analyzes football, whatever. But racist shit like this, it really just, it's like it just eats at me. It's like just, someone just took a hot fork on a stove and stabbed me in the chest with it. Like, that's how it feels. Because this white dude, I'm assuming he's white, he looks white, bald head, whatever, says shit like this and makes this negative, disgusting assumption towards Africa like it's dirty and filled with flies and shit. Because, when you see all those commercials, like, oh, African kids are dying and all this, that, and the third, and they have flies covered all over them, but the people there won't just feed them. Yeah, that whole scam that a lot of these white people do when they go to Africa. They like find some kids in a really poor village, not doing shit, and they put a camera in front of their face and try to get you to donate money to them, where they pocket the money and leave the kid there. Yeah, that shit happens a lot. I'm not going to go into African politics right now when it comes to white people. I'm not going to do that. But in this particular case, with this piece of shit, Gerard, yeah, I think it's Gerard Martinez, whatever. You say something like that, you should be held accountable. Because honestly, I don't think he would say this if he was in a room full of black parents. Somebody's daddy would have knocked his ass out. Like, you cover black athletes all day. You cover all these athletes. Most football players are black. We can just, like, the best ones are usually all black. Basketball too. And you're saying this racist ass comment, and he said it on September 8th at 7:20 p.m. I was just chilling. I was on my way home from work, minding my own business, trying to enjoy my life. And then I see this tweet, and I got at him, responded a couple times. He still didn't say anything back. He just got quiet, waited a couple days, and then tweeted out whatever other bullshit he was talking about and football games he was covering the rest of the week. And we got to start checking racist-ass white people, especially in sports. Like, that shit don't sit well with me. I don't like it. Like, these young kids out here busting their ass off. Athletes don't have vacations or summers, by the way. They don't. And you got people like this who are supposed to be scouts who probably... This fat motherfucker probably never played football in his life. Probably never played a sport or is never good at it. Cats like this who come into a realm of athletics, judging kids, they, depending on what they say or do, could put you on an under All-America team, get you more exposure as a recruit, this, that, and the third, and you saying racist shit like that, and no one checked them on it. Me and like one other girl, and it was only after I raised a bunch of hell in a couple group chats and told people like, yo, this dude really said that shit, and nobody came and checked him, which would mean to me, I think probably most of his people, his followers are probably paid for a good chunk. But that shit was trash to me, and I don't like that. I think it's really disrespectful, especially you as a white person saying that, especially acting like Moore Park is like, because you saw a fucking fly in Moore Park, guess what? If you're near the orange line, you eventually pass through different colleges, and yeah, there's flies everywhere. It's called nature. We live on Earth. There's flies. For you to just directly make that assumption and jump to Africa, that shit was disrespectful. And people like him need to be checked. And even if nothing comes from it, somebody needs to, like, anytime you see that shit, you need to check it, especially as a black person. You don't let people in the culture that you dominate but don't get any real benefits from, motherfuckers who just can come in and get these high-ranking positions and make lifestyles and lives out of what they do, recruiting all these kids, whatever, studying all their tape, doing all this shit, writing about it. They're making a living off this. But if a bunch of black people wanted to get together and just cover black athletes, cover athletes in general, and if one of us said some crazy shit like that on Twitter, we would get fired and blackballed. From what I've seen, nothing's happened to this dude. So I just want y'all to know, if y'all think it's okay for this dude to say, man, what's with these flies at Moore Park? It's like I'm in Africa or something. I want y'all to know, like, as black people, even non-black people, are y'all okay with this? Like, that's why when me and Pete in past episodes we talk about the combine and say, yeah, it's kind of a form of slavery, it feels like a slave auction, is because sports imitates life. It's a microcosm of it. It plays out on a much grander scale, and we idolize it and we love it. But we don't call out pieces of shit like this. And I guarantee you, if he was in a room filled with black parents, he wouldn't say that shit. And if he was in a room with me, I'm checking his ass. I'm checking his ass for it. Because I'm not the type of person to let shit like that fly. I don't like it. It was rude, it was racist, and it was uncalled for. And people like